Well, I guess let me start by more than anything else, since this night is about our seniors. I just want to say more than anything else, I appreciate the 10 seniors just for the attitude that they chose to maintain once we had a challenging year and once things started to continue to mount on us, and those guys chose a positive path every single day when they came to work, in the locker room and in the meeting room and the weight room, on the practice field. And whether they know it or not right now, after finishing a season at 2-10, whether they know it right now, they've made a huge impact on the young players in our program, because they see that, these 10 guys decided to stick together here. They decided not to point the finger, not to say, why me, not to feel sorry for themselves. And I can't say thanks to that group of guys enough. Jordan Hogue, Anthony Winbush, Vinny Palazetti, Malik King, Pat Maloney, Reggie McGee, David Moore, John Swisher, Jack Miles, Kevin Willis. I mean, that group of 10 young men, I told them this morning, man, life is about challenges, and somewhere down the road in the next chapter of your life, you're going to be in a leadership position. You're going to be a leader of your family. You're going to be the leader of a company. You're going to be coaching your kids' football teams, baseball teams, basketball teams one day, and you're going to draw on this experience one time, knowing that when you help those young men, when you help your community, where if you're in a leadership role, you're going to help them get through a challenging time, because you're going to be positive about it. You're going to try to solve the problem. You're not going to try to continue to be the problem. And that's the one thing I appreciate about these 10 guys. It pains me to no end that they have to leave out of here without a championship trophy. And I can't thank them enough for their contribution to the program, and wish them nothing but the best as they pursue the next chapter of their life.
Coach, I think overall in the game, you guys outran Miami. I think total offense was higher. Outside of maybe that punt and the interception, it was a really competitive game.
Yeah, unfortunately, the missed opportunities that we had in the first half, you think about the first punt that was dropped and we gave them an extra possession. Obviously, we had a couple of opportunities where we had an interception and slipped through our hands, ended up in the hands of the Miami player. And so there were plenty of opportunities in the first half in all three phases where there was opportunities to make plays, and we just didn't get it done. And so proud of the way the guys responded coming out in the second half. Hey, can't control what's happening on the scoreboard right now, but we got 30 minutes here to leave it all on the field for these seniors. We got to take advantage of every opportunity that we get. We got to make the plays that are available. We got to sustain drives. We got to put points on the board. I am proud of the effort in the second half for our defense to hold them to a shutout there and be scoreless in the second half. That's positive. So we're going to try to build on that. And there's a lot of positives about what happened, but certainly when you lose, it overshadows everything else.
Mike, how do you go into the off season now, right away? Do you evaluate your season? Do you dive head first into recruiting and then do the big evaluation after signing day? What comes?
Yeah, right now for our young men, all of them, after they check out tomorrow morning, they're going home to their respective families for Thanksgiving. They got to be back Sunday night for a team meeting just to make sure everybody's back on campus and that we're finishing the semester academically. But Monday morning, everybody on the coaching staff is on the road recruiting, with the early signing day now being December 20th. You have to take advantage of every day that you get. So we're on the road, all next week recruiting. We come back in for an official visit weekend on the weekend of the 1st. Then we're back out on the road again on Monday, back in for an official visit weekend on the 8th. And so that's going to be our schedule. Once we get back off the road, prior to that signing day, I'll have individual staff meetings. All of our position coaches will meet with their respective position group, the returning players, between now and the end of the semester, because unfortunately we can't just schedule end of the year meetings on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Next week we're on the road recruiting. That's part of the reason why I met with everybody on our team. I met with them individually during the bye week, knowing that this was going to be a challenge at the end of the season. So it's recruiting, and we got to continue to build and sustain success on the recruiting trail. We've had a lot of positive things happen recently in recruiting, but we got to continue to build our roster, knowing that we learned a valuable lesson this year, that we got to continue to create more depth because we got into a situation this year where some guys were forced into action probably a little bit earlier than they were ready for in terms of development. So it's full speed ahead recruiting, and then we'll have to evaluate once we get pick and choose once we get to the week before signing day here. We'll have a lot of evaluations internally.
I remember midway through the season, Coach, we're talking in the post-game press conference after Central Michigan come 6 games later, no sacks today. Quarterbacks are able to get out of the pocket, run a lot. Your rushing game had almost 300 yards. What do you think about the way that you've seen their development?
Well, proud of those guys because, number one, asking a guy like Vinny to play every single spot on the offensive line and him embracing that, being unselfish, just tells you about, what kind of character what kind of character the young man has. And so, to see a guy like Curtis Blackwell play as much as he did this year, Chris Beach, Zach Ricketts, Grant Williamson, those are guys that hasn't played a lot of football. And so I'm proud because they have gotten better each and every week. And another offseason in the weight room, now having some playing experience is going to greatly benefit those guys. And they know that, even though I'm not where I wanted to be starting the season on the depth chart, whether I was 2, 3, maybe even 4, you got to understand how it is very critical in college football and in the game of football. You're only one play away, and all of that was a real example, real life lesson for all of our guys. So they got to continue to develop in the weight room, continue to get stronger, knowing that they've benefited from having some playing time now. They understand what the speed of the game is. So they'll be really, come spring after they have an off season and have a winter in the weight room and running and agilities and working on technique. I'm excited for the development and the future of those guys.
How was your coaching, I guess just being a head coach, how has that kind of evolved? This is the end of year 2 now, and
Yeah.
here you are. I mean, have you felt more comfortable as a head coach?
Oh, no. Well, when I say no, because of the results on the field. Coaching is one of those things. I've had some great years coaching. I've had some challenging years coaching. This has certainly been a challenging year, but down the road, somebody's going to ask me this question, Coach, what did you think about the 2017 season? Quite honestly, it was one of the best seasons that I've ever had because it made me, challenge myself as a coach from a positive standpoint because you're leading men. And so it's easy to be a leader when things are going great, when things are always working out for you. But when things aren't going your way and you're trying to mold a lot of freshmen and young guys, it's really going to challenge what you're all about leadership-wise. Can you maintain a positive approach? Can you get those guys to come into the building, to stay together in the locker room, to still put the work in, knowing that the results aren't where we want them to be? And so it was a challenging year for me that way. And I appreciate my kids because, I come home all the time and I tell them if you don't, continue to just work hard in the classroom, treat people with respect and how you want to be treated. If you don't like where you're at in baseball and basketball, just got to keep working. And, and now they're coaching me up when I get home, telling me, hey, Dad, you just got to stay positive here. Keep grinding. The next day is something you can do something about. And so you find out a lot about yourself and trying to maintain a leadership role that's positive and proactive and still trying to get results out of your young men and continuing to get them to believe that we are going in the right direction here and we've got better days ahead.
Do you expect Riley Neal and James Gilbert to be 100% healthy when winter work on?
I hope. I can't wait for their doctor appointments here at the end of the month. Both of them are right after Thanksgiving, if I'm not mistaken, and it's an unknown for right now. But I hope that they're both able to be full speed once we start to the winter agilities and the early morning runs, because those two guys, from a presence standpoint, mean a lot. So hopefully that ends up working itself out and they get cleared so they can be a part of that.
How is your, I guess, philosophy about it? You guys had 4th and 3, 4th and 6, I think a couple times in their territory. You guys are already down and kind of getting nothing loose. So I guess I'm curious as to why not just go for it? Or what was the thought of punting in those? I mean, one of them only went 11 yards.
Yeah, that one, obviously you go, you're thinking, okay, if we can get them down there and we can, I felt strongly that our defense was doing a good job there in the second half and trying to give those guys a positive, pat on the back more than anything else. And I think about when we kicked it down here and we got it, inside the 5-yard line, and our guys did a good job holding them to 3 and out. So obviously that was a plan. The one didn't work out. The second one was a positive result. But obviously it's one of those two when you switch quarterbacks in the second half. Jack got dinged up. And so, again, if I felt good about being able to execute and get it on 4th and 6, obviously would have felt better about, being able to execute and get it, then obviously you make a different decision.
What do you think about the fight of both your quarterbacks out there today? It seemed like Jack was running with the ball. He didn't want to slide. He wanted to fight for every yard out there.
Well, I think that's a guy that knows that, playing his last game here and trying to leave everything that he's got on the field. And so, obviously in a perfect world, you want to slide and live to fight another down. But you appreciate, where he's at and what he's been through and, wanting to leave it all on the field for his teammates and for his university. And so, I appreciate him, sacrificing himself, trying to get a first down. And so, Drew, did some nice things, escaping the pocket and extending some plays and getting some critical first downs when we needed them to continue a drive. So, look, those guys, and even a guy like Drew that's returning, there's some playing time for him, that he understands the speed of the game. He understands how important it is to play mistake-free football. And so when you're in that position, man, that's the name of the game. You got to sustain drives. You got to execute. You got to locate the ball. You got to make sure that you're staying away from those turnovers, because that's going to give you an opportunity to still continue to play. And, when your number's called, we got to make sure that we feel good that you're able to do that.
One more question? Thank you, Coach.
I appreciate you guys all year. Thank you very much.